মানে থাকবেন, আর আপনি যদি ওকে লুকানোর চেষ্টা করেন তাহলে কিন্তু আপনিও বিপদে পড়বেন। আমি এখন চলি।
শুনুন, আইডেন্টিফাই করতে পেরেছেন?
শুনুন ম্যাডাম, লোকটা কিন্তু খুব ডেঞ্জারাস। বেশ কয়েকদিন ধরে এই চত্বরে ঘোরাফেরা করছে। আমাদের কাছে খবর আছে যে ওর পেশেন্ট যে কয়েকজন ওর চেম্বারে লাস্ট কয়েকদিনে দেখাতে গেছিল তার ভেতরে বেশ কয়েকজন নিখোঁজ। শুধু তাই নয়, ওর প্রথম পক্ষ এবং দ্বিতীয় পক্ষের স্ত্রীও নিখোঁজ। এবং আমাদের ধারণা যে ওই লোকটাই ওদেরকে খুন করেছে। আপনার দুটো ফ্ল্যাট ওপরে, ফ্ল্যাট 6-এ সুন্দরী ভদ্রমহিলা চেনেন নিশ্চয়ই। কিছুদিন আগে পেশেন্ট একবার নাম করে তাকেও দেখতে এসেছিল। তারপরে অজ্ঞান করে গলায় স্টেথোস্কোপ জড়িয়ে জড়িয়ে খুন করবার চেষ্টা করছিল। নেহাত ভদ্রমহিলার ছেলে হঠাৎ ঘরে ঢুকে পারে, সেজন্য ডাক্তার পালায়। ভদ্রমহিলা জ্ঞান ফেরার পরে আমাদেরকে ফোন করে, সেই থেকে ডাক্তার নিখোঁজ। কিন্তু আমরা কিন্তু ওকে খুঁজে বার করবই। আমাদের হাত থেকে নিস্তার পাবে না, আমরা খুঁজে বার করবই। নমস্কার।
আরে আপনি আবার ভয় পেয়ে গেলেন নাকি? আরে বাবা, আমি ভালো পুলিশ বললাম তো, পাতিপুকুর থানা ইন্সপেক্টর ব্যানার্জি। আরে শুনুন শুনুন, আমরা পুলিশ দিয়ে বাড়িটাকে ভালো করে ঘিরে রেখেছি। এখানে কেউ ঢুকলে সে বেরোতেও পারবে না, আর বাইরে থেকে কেউ ঢুকতেও পারবে না। আপনি শুধু কাউকে দেখলে আমাদেরকে খবর দেবেন। হ্যাঁ, চলি। আরে এই একদিন না এসে আপনার কাছে চা খেয়ে যাবো, দেখে মনে হচ্ছে দারুণ চা বানান। চললাম।
নামটা মানে ওই যাকে খুঁজছেন নামটা কি?
উমেশ গুহ রোডের চেম্বার, শশাঙ্ক, শশাঙ্ক শেখর মিত্র।
শশাঙ্কদা, এই চায়ের কাপটা চায়ের কাপটা ছিল এখানে, ব্যাগটা, শশাঙ্কদার ব্যাগটাও তো জলটা, ছাতা কোথায়? শশাঙ্কদা, 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 শশাঙ্কদা।
Hello everyone, I am Rimjim and I live in Columbus, Ohio. I am pretty new to Spotlight and South Asian Theatre Festival, having been associated with them for last 2 years. But even in this short stint, I was extremely privileged to be directed by Dev Shankar Haldar in his Bengali play Ochin Doshar, wherein I played one of the lead female protagonists. This was staged in 2018 in Columbus as well as in New Jersey. I'm super excited for the upcoming South Asian Theatre Festival 2020, which is going to be launched digitally. Now, let me introduce to you all to this interesting play, which is based on the short story by Anton Chekhov, The Seduction. It is a hilarious story of a man, Peter, who uses a husband as a conduit for his attempt seduction of his newly wed bride. Peter enthralls his audience with his unique luring tips and leave a lasting impression on their minds. The duration of the play is 30 minutes and the play would be performed in English. The play is directed by Barkha Krishnani and producer ICS Theatre, New Jersey. Cast Murtuja Sabir as Peter Simonek, Shagata Sengupta, wife, Arun Shom as husband, and Sanjay Kriplani in the stage direction. I wish all the best to the team and I hope you all enjoy the show. Thank you. Good luck.
The Seduction. Lights up on the narrator. He's in jacket, hat, and his pince nez. There is a small public garden, a tree, and a bench. He looks as if waiting for someone. Then out to the audience.
Peter Semyonich was the greatest seducer of other men's wives that I've ever met. He was successful with all women for that matter, but there was a special challenge to beautiful women married to prominent, rich, successful men. I could never do him justice. Let him tell you, in his own words.
He removes his glasses, puts them in his pocket, clears his throat, assumes a more debonair posture, and becomes Peter Semyonich.
If I may say so myself, I am the greatest seducer of other men's wives that I've ever met. I say this not boastfully, but as a matter of record. The staggering figures speak for themselves. But those men interested in playing this highly satisfying but often dangerous game, I urge you to take out pen and paper and take notes. I'm going to explain my methods. In defense, married women may do likewise, but it will do them little good if they happen to be the chosen victim. My methods have never failed. Now then, there are 3 vital characteristics needed. They are patience, more patience, and still more patience. Those who do not have the strength to wait, seducing isn't for you. In order to seduce a man's wife, you must, I repeat, you must stay as far away from her as possible. Pay her practically no attention at all. Ignore her if you must. We will get to her through her husband. You are about to witness a practical demonstration, for as it happens, I am madly and deeply in love this week. My heart pounds with excitement knowing that she will pass through this garden in a few moments with her husband. Every fiber of my being tells me to throw my arms around her and embrace her with all the passion in my heart. But observe how a master works. I shall be cool, almost to the point of freezing. My heart of hearts and spouse approaches.
He turns the other way as the husband and his lovely younger bride approach, taking an afternoon stroll in the park. She carries with her a bunch of fresh flowers.
Ah, Peter Semyonich. Fancy meeting you here.
Doesn't look at wife.
My dear Nikolai, how good to see you. You're looking well. Notice how I'm not looking at her?
Thank you. And you gay devil, you're always looking well. Excuse me, have you met my wife Irina? Of course you have. You sat next to her at dinner at the Vesnovs. Irina, I don't know what this charmer said to you at dinner, but I must warn you that he is a scoundrel, a notorious bachelor, and an exceptional swordsman. That's the best I can say for you, Peter.
You exaggerate, Nikki. Madame, good to see you again.
He doffs his hat, but barely looks at her. She nods back, then turns and looks at the flowers.
We were just taking a stroll. If you're not too busy, why don't you walk with us?
That's very kind of you, Nikolai. But as a matter of fact, I am riveted to this spot. A new romance has just entered my life, and my legs are like pillars of granite. Until she's out of my sight, I will be incapable of movement. Too much, do you think? As I said, be patient.
Fantastic. You never cease to amaze me. Pretty, I suppose?
Suppose magnificent, suppose glorious, and you will suppose correctly.
Any complications?
As usual. Husband, I'm afraid my cause looks hopeless.
Nonsense. I'm placing my money on you, Peter, and you know I never bet unless I'm sure of winning. Well, we're off. Good hunting, my boy. Good hunting.
Madame. Beautifully done, don't you think? I am sometimes awed by the work of a true professional. Did you notice? Our eyes barely met. We exchanged hardly a word, and yet, how much she knows of me already. I'm a popular bachelor, a man in love, always titillating to romantic women, a gifted sportsman, a nice contrast to her sedentary husband. And this is most important, a dangerous man with the ladies. Quite frankly, at this point, she's disgusted by me. A, because I'm a braggart and a scoundrel. B, because I'm shamelessly frank as to my intentions. And C, because she thinks she's not the one I'm interested in. Forgive me if I'm slightly overcome by my own deviousness. By the way, are you getting all this down? It gets tricky from here on in. Now then, next step, hypnosis. Not hypnosis with your eyes, but with the poison of your tongue, much like a venomous snake moving in for the kill. And what's more, the best channel is the husband himself. Witness as I accidentally run into him at the club one day.
At the club, the husband is sitting reading a newspaper. Peter takes up a chair and sits next to him. The husband looks up and notices him.
Obvious. I am doomed, Nikki. I haven't seen her since I last met you and your dear wife. I sleep little, I eat less. I've had all my shirt collars tucked in half an inch. Ah, Nikki, why do I waste my valuable youth chasing women I can never truly call my own? How I envy you.
Me? What's there about me that you envy?
Why? Your marriage, of course. A charming woman, your wife, let me tell you.
Really? What's there about her that fascinates you so?
Her grace, her quiet charm, everything. But mostly it's the way she looks at you, Nikki. Oh, if only someone would look at me like that, with such adoring, loving eyes. It must send quivers through your body.
Quivers? No, not really.
A tingle, perhaps? Don't tell me you don't tingle when she looks at you.
Of course, by all means. I tingle all the time.
She's an ideal woman, Nikki. Believe that from a lonely bachelor, and be glad fate gave you a wife like that.
Perhaps fate will be as kind to you.
That's what I'm counting on. Good heavens, I am late for my doctor's appointment.
What's he treating you for?
Melancholia. Please say hello to your extraordinary wife, but I urge you not to repeat our conversation. It might embarrass her fragile sensitivities. Ah, where, oh, where is the woman for me?
Out of earshot of the husband, he stops and turns.
I know where. The question is, how soon will she be mine? There is still work to be done, but not by me. That task falls on my aid and accomplice. Oh, by the way, I saw Peter Semyonich today.
Oh, by the way, I saw Peter Semyonich today.
Who?
Peter Semyonich, the bachelor. We met him in the gardens last week. That attractive fellow, you remember.
I remember what a loathsome man he is.
You may not think so when you hear what he had to say about you.
Nothing that braggart had to say would interest me.
He spoke most enthusiastically about you. He was enraptured by your grace, your quiet charm, and he seemed to feel that you were capable of loving a man in some extraordinary way. It was something about your eyes and the way you looked so adoringly. He certainly had a lot to say about you. He went on and on. Well, good night, my dear.
Well, good night. What else?
Hmm?
What else did he have to say about me?
Peter?
Whatever that loathsome man's name is, what else did Peter Semyonich say about me?
Well, that's more or less it, what I told you.
But you said he went on and on.
He did.
But you stopped. If he went on and on, don't stop. Either go on and on, or let's go to bed.
Well, he said how much he envied me, how much he wanted someone to look at him the way you look at me.
How does he know how I look at you?
Well, that day in the gardens, he must have been looking at you when you were looking at me. It sent a tingle to my whole body.
The way I looked at you?
Exactly, my precious.
But you were looking at him, so you couldn't have seen how I was looking at you. As a matter of fact, I was looking at the flowers because he made me so nervous the way he kept avoiding looking at me. You must have tingled for some other reason.
It's getting rather confusing. The point is, he found you fascinating. I thought it would please you.
Well, it doesn't. I would rather you didn't tell me such stories. Are you planning to see him again soon?
Tomorrow for lunch.
But I would rather not be discussed over lunch. Tell him that. And at dinner time, you can tell me what he said. Good night, Nikki.
Good night, my angel.
Good night, my love. I am spellbound by my own powers. I succeeded in not only piquing her interest, but causing her heart to flutter at the mention of my name. The same man she called loathsome not 2 minutes ago. All this was accomplished, mind you, while I was at home taking a pine-scented bath. Luncheon the next day was not only nourishing, but also productive.
At lunch with the husband.
By the way, old man, I ran into Nekrasov yesterday. The artist? It seems he's been commissioned by some wealthy prince to paint the head of a typical Russian beauty. He asked me to look out for a model for him. I said I knew just the woman, but I didn't dare ask her myself. What do you think of asking your wife?
Asking my wife what?
To be the model, of course. That lovely head of hers. It would be a damn shame if that exquisite face missed the chance to become immortalized for all the world. Why don't you discuss it with her then?
Good idea. I'll discuss it with her.
In the bedroom, they are preparing for bed.
Well, I said I would discuss it with you. What do you think?
I think it's nonsense. How did he put it to you? I mean, did he actually say a typical Russian beauty?
Precisely. And that it would be a damn shame if that exquisite face missed the chance to become immortalized for all the world. That's exactly what he said.
He gets carried away by his own voice. Those exact words, you didn't leave anything out.
Oh yes, that lovely face. I left out that lovely face. He said that a number of times, I think.
He does go on and on, doesn't he? How many times did he say it? Once? Twice? What?
Let me think. It's hard to remember.
It's not important. But in the future, I wish you would write these things down. Good night, Nikki.
Good night, my dear.
Have you seen me near her? Have you heard me speak to her? Has any correspondence passed between us? No, my dear pupils. And yet she hangs on every word uttered by her husband. Awesome, isn't it? We apply this treatment from 2 to 3 weeks. Her resistance is weakening, weakening, weakening.
Back in the bedroom, as usual, preparing for bed.
I think his mind is elsewhere, if you ask me. On some woman, from the looks of him.
What woman? Has he mentioned any woman in particular?
Oh no, he's too discreet for that. He'll protect her good. Sorry for him.
It's really none of our concern. Nikki, did you ask him for dinner tomorrow?
He's busy.
The day after then?
Busy.
Next week? Next month? When? Doesn't the man eat?
Well, he says he's involved on a very important project and will be months
As possible.
for such women.
Nikki, I implore you, please, just... He said that?
Yes, right here.
What did you say, Nikki? It's important I know what you said to him then.
Well, I said, take her then. I'm not going to fight a duel over her.
Nikki, you mustn't discuss me with him anymore. I beg you not to mention my name to him ever again.
But I don't, my love. He's the one who always brings up the subject. He actually accused me of not understanding you. He shouted at me, she's an exceptional creature, strong, seeking definite.
Nikki.
Sure, I'm the true to hears my words that sing in Heartless. There is ministered. For the faint-hearted, I urge you, look away.
In the bedroom, they are eternally preparing for bed.
No, Nikki, I don't want to hear. Not another word from him, nothing.
But exactly, that's what he said. He begged me to tell you nothing. He said he knew because of your sweet, sympathetic nature, you would worry to hear of someone else's distress.
He's in distress?
Worse, he's gloomy, morose, morbid, in the depths of despair.
Oh no, but why? What's the matter with him?
Loneliness. He says he has no relatives, no true friends. I tried to make that clear. I again urged him to come home to dinner with me. But he said he can't face people.
No, I'm busy. I'm meeting Aunt Sophia tomorrow. She's ill. I'll be there at 9.
I couldn't have done it alone. I share that honor with my good friend and collaborator, her husband. He wooed her so successfully that there is no carriage this time.
Rushes into the garden and then stops, breathless.
My dear, my sweet dear angel, at last I can...
But what comment? You've used my husband as a clever and devious device to arouse my passions, which I freely admit have awakened in me, and I suffer every vulnerability. Hit me at this static, moderate. Take me, destroy. It will make me both miserable to do as you me. My dearest.
Peter looks at her, then turns his hand and looks full face at the audience. He wants some advice, but none is coming. He turns back to the wife. He starts to raise his arms for her, but they will not budge. It is as though they weigh 10 tons each. He struggles again with no results. He makes one final effort and then quickly changes his mind and turns his back on her.
God bless you, Peter Semyonich. I wish life brings you the happiness you have just brought to me.
She turns and runs off. Peter then turns out to the audience, then reaches into his pocket, puts on his glasses, and becomes the narrator again, a little older and with none of the dash and charm of Peter.
Peter Semyonich, the until one day.
Lights off on the